Hi there, welcome back to the YouTube channel. Please hit the subscribe button. Get ready to hit the like button, and if you don't like the video or I've done something wrong, leave me a comment, let me know where I've gone wrong, and I'll respond to it as soon as I see it. Anyway, at the moment we're getting very close to the launch of the Lord of the Rings set on mtgo, and yeah, hopefully I'll get inspired. I know I did Tom Bombadil the other week, so I was really inspired by that one. I'm hoping I get inspired by some of the more legends that come out in that set. But at the moment, I'm still just going through the last few of the ones I wanted to do from the Aftermath set. And we're kicking that off today with Nashi, Moon's Legacy. Black, green, and blue for a 3/4 legendary creature Rat Shaman. Has Menace and Ward, which I like as a combination. That's nice. It's only Ward 1, but it still makes those removal spells cost that extra mana. And whenever Nashi attacks, exile up to one target legendary creature or one target legendary. Doesn't say creature, interestingly. Bear that in mind. And or rat card from your graveyard and copy it. You may cast the copy. So yeah. Now traditionally you probably go down the whole let's have all the rats so you haven't got to worry about how many you've got in your deck. I have got a few of them in here. I'm going to be honest about it, but I was trying to make it a little bit more spicy. Not sure if it's worked or not, but hey, this is what the deck looks like today. So, starting with the land base, 35 lands, because we're kind of sort of like very heavy 1, 2, and 3 drops. Everything after that's a bit more relatable, so I figured we could get away with 35 lands. All the blue, green, and black lands you can think of are in the deck. Got 5 forests, 5 islands, and 4 swamps, because a lot of the dual lands I actually own are black base, so that's why I've managed to cut one swamp out. We've got the Triome, we've got the cheaper version, the Opulent Palace. It's going ahead from that way. Ramp wise, not too heavy. Mox Tantalite, Soul Talisman, Soul Ring, and somewhere down the bottom here, Arcane Signet, just so we can make sure we get some, we have got some ramping to get some of the higher cost things on the go later on. But as I said, I tried to keep away from going down the rack side too heavily. But at the end of the day, you're going to need some rats in the deck. So, start with the Miser. Reduces opponent's hand size by 1. That's fine. The Vermin, when it dies, we get to mill a couple of cards. And milling's quite important in this deck. We do want to try and put some of the stuff into our graveyard where we can. So a little bit of milling. Not a lot, but a little bit. Typhoid Rat for the Death Touch blocker. Village Rites to sack our creatures off to draw some cards if we need to. Cyclonic Rift, help us control the board, and then Mana Drain to get rid of those big annoying things that's going to cause us problems with this deck. Burglar Rat does the whole discarding for each opponent, and then one of the first non-rat creatures is Piper of the Swarm. Gives all your rats menace, which is nice, so they get through, and then you can make a token rat, or you can sacrifice 3 rats and gain control of another target creature, which could be useful because we do have a lot of rats to sacrifice. Rancid Rats, Death Touch, Skulk. Yeah, okay then. It can't be blocked by creatures with greater power and any amount of damage. We all know what Death Touch does, so made quite a nice choice here at the 2 drop. And then I'm playing 10 copies of Rat Colony. Gets +1/+1 for each other rat we +1/+0 for each other rat we control, and yeah, so there's 10 copies in, and with Piper of the Swarm, they all get menace, which is lovely. Ravenous Rats does the whole discarding side of life. Rotting Rats also does the discarding side of life and has the ability to come back with the Unearth, which is quite nice. Rune Rat is a Death Toucher, so it gives us an early blocker, but it's when it dies, exile target card from an opponent's graveyard. Could help, hence why it's here. Skull Snatcher, just for a bit of ninjutsu fun, and again, exiling stuff that may have been milled or put in the graveyard that you don't want to see. Swarm of Rats is the power is equal to the number of rats we control. Now, it's only going to be, if it comes into play, it'll be a 1/1. If we've got another rat, it's a 2/1, 3/1, etc. Probably the weakest rat in the deck, I'll be honest about it. But I just like the artwork so much with that little glint in its eye that I had to include it in here. A little bit more ramp side of things with Farseek, Nature's Law, Rampant Growth, and 3 visits, so we can go and get the lands we need. And then Heroic Interventions also here, just so we can give our stuff, hexproof and indestructible 1 turn, just to keep us in the game if we need to. Going over to the 3 drops, Bastion of Remembrance, because rats do tend to die quite easily, therefore we might as well try and drain people and gain a little bit of life each time one dies. Crypt Rats, again, not sure about this. But it does give us a mana sink, which can actually hopefully wipe the board a little bit. And if we've got Bastion of Remembrance in play and a few rats, just sunking one into this really does help us get the life gain going with a Bastion. So, you know, a little bit of board control never hurt anybody. Karamux, the Rat King, we had to bring this in from All Will Be One, purely because it gives all our rats toxic, so it gives us another way of winning. Nashi, the Moon Sage coin, Scion coin, I keep saying coin, I keep messing the S off. Scion is here, apologies. Deals combat damage for a player, exile top card of each player's library. Until the end of the turn, you may play those spells. If you cast a spell this way, pay life equal to its mana cost rather than paying its paid life equal to its mana value instead of its mana cost. Quite a nice way of getting some of the stuff out of your opponent's decks and you want to play with them instead. And the ninjutsu side of it really does help because, you know, people aren't going to block your rats with, you know, if they've got menace or they've got death touch. People don't tend to block them, so it gives you a nice little way of making sure you can get the ninjutsu off once you hit that magical 4 mana level. 10 copies of Relentless Rats are also in the deck. I have got 30 of each of Rat Colony and Relentless Rats in my collection, and yeah, you could just take a load of this out and just play the Rat Colony and the Relentless Rats and keep going that way. But like I say, try not to go down the usual route with this. Cultivate is also here, just to give us a little bit more land search that we need. And Sultani Ascendancy, Surveil 2 of our upkeep. It's a nice way of getting rats into our graveyard ready to be exiled with Nashi, the Moon's Legacy. And people just tend to ignore this, so we're not going to complain too much. Herald's Horn is purely here because you're going to choose rat. You're not going to do anything else apart from choose rat with this. You will hopefully hit them off the top of your leg. But what we're interested in really to a certain extent is how we actually win. And this is where we start. So Damnation works obviously very well with Heroic Intervention. So keep all your lats in play. Or if you need to, just wipe the board, clear everything out, save yourself. Parallel Lives. This is one of the cards you could cut. I think it's kicking around about $45 at the moment in real life. It's still not too bad ticket-wise on mtgo. And don't forget, the reason it's here is because we're making copies. A copy of a permanent spell becomes a token. This gives us an extra token copy of it. So I have played this deck a little bit where I've managed to go with Nashi with this in play, exile a rat colony and get 2 rat colonies. It's quite good fun. Adrex and Nev Twin Casters also give us that doubling up on the token. Again, I haven't played this one for a while, but it's in this deck and I figured it was worthwhile having it here. Sidisi the Brew Tyrant just enters the battlefield or attacks, it mills 3 cards, so it's filling our graveyard up with rats that we can exile. And then whenever one or more creature cards are put in your graveyard from the library, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. I mean, Sidisi is a deck all on their own. I think we've all seen it before now, but I decided to add Sidisi in here just to give us that little bit of extra blockage with the zombies coming through. Reflections Elitara, again another card you pick rat with, just so you can get so you get copies of the spell. A copy of a permanent spell becomes a token, so it's another way of getting extra rat triggers off your Parallel Lives, which is quite nice. Throat Slitter, another ninjutsu rat that comes in and just deals with a non-black creature that player controls when it deals damage. So, yep, 3 mana ninjutsu this time, which is quite nice. Liliana, Death's Majesty, lets us mill cards, get zombie, fills up our graveyard. Maronora gives all our rats fear, so they can only be blocked by black and artifact creatures, so it becomes really complicated with this and the Piper of the Swarm in play to give them menace. So basically your rats at this stage potentially become unblockable depending on what you're playing against. And sacrificing a rat to create X11 black rat creature tokens where X is the number of rats you control can really help, especially when we've got Parallel Lives, Adrix and Niv in play. So yeah. Sir Conran the Grim, you might as well have this in as well. Do the damage as creatures die off, that's fine. Or if they put it in our graveyard, even better, especially with our triggers we've got from our wonderful little mill bit. Ink Eyes, because it's probably the best rat ever printed, I would guess, would be my approach, would be my side of it. And nicking someone's card, yeah, I'll cope with that plan. Kodama of the East Tree lets us put another one with mana value equal to or less than from our hand onto the battlefield. So, you know, this in play, play Relentless Rats, put another Relentless Rats or a Rat Colony into play. I can cope with that plan. And Muldrotha. play everything from our graveyard if we need to. It's a nice little way of making sure we've got a workaround in case, you know, we don't want to exile it with Nasri. I would suggest we don't exile, you know, hopefully we don't have to have Midrolthur in the graveyard at any stage and we can just have it in play as a normal creature. But we'll have to see how things go. The last two biggest spells in the deck, Rise of the Dark Realms, because at some stage you probably do want to get everything in your graveyard back into play. And, you know, Army of Rats seems like good fun. And Old Stick Fingers, another way of getting our stuff from our library into our graveyard and getting it back into play if we need to. It's quite a nice way of filtering out so we get all the creatures in the graveyard and everything else back in our library still. And its power and toughness equals the number of creature cards in our library. Now, there are some other cards I'm sure you could play. I mean, you know, you could drop off all the other rats I've got down here, play more rat colonies, play relentless rats. I'm not going to argue if you do it, but I was trying to avoid going down the more obvious route with this. But, you know, at the end of the day, they are still really good rats and they're probably some of the best rats ever. The main plan will be to get Naziri in, get an attack in, and hopefully exile a rat or something and get a really good one come back into play. Is it going to work? It's worked in the one game I've tested it on so far, and I've really enjoyed playing it. Is it going to be a top tier deck going forward? Probably not, but it's something that's fun. I wouldn't suggest trying to, you know, I know a lot of gaming stores find it really hard to keep these two cards in stock. So if you're lucky and you've already got them, it's probably a good one to build in paper as just a fun deck to play on a, you know, Friday Night Magic or wherever you play your Commander meetups. And yes, there probably is a more advanced way of making Nasri even better with legendary creatures or legendary anything. Because you can use spells, you can use planeswalkers, you can use artifacts, so on and so forth to do the whole copying side of it. But at the end of the day, I want to go down the rat deck with this. I would imagine I will come back to Nasri at some stage in the future and try and do something a bit more technical with it. But, you know, got to get ready for Lord of the Rings, and I want to just get some more of the wonderful ones from Aftermath from my point of view covered this week. So that's it for today's video. Really short compared to some of my other videos. Please hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Leave me a comment and let me know what you would play in the deck over the top of some of the other cards. Obviously there are lots of artifacts where you can pick a creature type and get bonuses for them. I've avoided them for the main part for this deck, but it might be you want to play them. So, you know, let me know in the comments what you think of the list, and I will see you in the next video as we start winding down on Aftermath and getting ready for Lord of the Rings. So take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye.